Hey there, Computer Solutions students. This is Mr. Lupton, and I am going over what you guys are going to be doing this week, which is the week of April 27th through May 1st. So first thing you want to know is that this week we're going to start looking at spreadsheets. So we are transitioning out of what we've been doing with Microsoft Word specifically, and really Google Docs since we've been online. So word processing software would be the larger grouping of those things. And we're going to delve into spreadsheets. Now, if we were in class, we would be using Microsoft Excel, but since we're not, we're going to use Google Sheets, which is a spreadsheet that is available to you guys on your Chromebooks. So here's what we're doing with this. To start with, as you look at your assignments for this week, there's a couple things that you need to have open really right away. And the first one is the Google Sheets 101, which is the beginner's guide to online spreadsheets. So that is going to look like this page on Zapier, titled Google Sheets 101, the beginner's guide to online spreadsheets. And you're also going to want to open up the spreadsheets week 1 files, which is going to open up a Google Drive folder that is shared with you, and you're going to be able to use these 3 files to do the activities that we're doing this week. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to go open up a new window here. Actually, let me try that again. Go. Okay. And so you'll want to do kind of the same thing here, is have a a folder in your Google Drive just for what we're doing in Microsoft, not Microsoft, excuse me, but Google Sheets, so that you can create a new document. So really what we're going to be doing is following right along with this tutorial of the Google Sheets 101, and it's going to take us through how to do a few things like create a brand new Google Sheet, add information and data to that sheet, and then format it. So that's really the first activity. Is we're doing parts 1 and 2 of the tutorial for the first part of the week, and the second part of the week we'll do parts 3 and 4, which is adding some formulas and different functionality there. So some of the terms I'm using, like spreadsheets and formulas and things like that, might be terms that you guys are not familiar with. So one of the things that I've given you guys for this week to really help you get started is a Quizlet that has these different terms associated with spreadsheets in it. So certainly you can look here at this document, the tutorial, to learn these terms, but you can also use, again, the Quizlet that I've shared with you guys in Google Classroom for the assignments for this week. That will help you, if you prefer this format, to learn the different terms that are associated with Google Sheets. And I've also, I always suggest when you do a Quizlet that you use the Learn feature, because I think it is the strongest in terms of helping you actually learn the material. But for right now, again, we're going to come in here and just know that you want to look over these terms first as you go. You'll need to know them for the quiz at the end of this section. And we're going to scroll down to part number 1. Now, I'm not going to scroll back and forth between the tutorial and the Google Sheet that we're going to be working on. I'm just going to stay in the Google Sheet. So what I'd encourage you guys to do is anytime you need a second, just pause the video, go over and do what you need to do, then start playing the video again. It takes you a few more minutes than just the time of the video, but it's really helpful for making sure that you understand how to do everything that you need to do. So as I said before, I'm going to go into my folder that's going to hold all of my Google Sheet material. Again, I called this Microsoft Excel because if we were in class, we would be using Excel, but for right now, we're using a Google Sheet. And I'm going to just click on the big new button over here on the side and create a brand new Google Sheet. So when I do this, you'll notice this document is blank to start, as we'd expect when we create something new. And there's really 3 ways the tutorial is going to walk you through to create a new document here. The first one is an import. So what you're going to do the import to see how it works is you're going to want to go to the shared folder that I've given you guys, and you're going to want to use the import file, and you're going to do the right click or the 2-finger click to get this file, and you're going to want to download it. And you notice this file will show up, and for you on the Chromebook, it'll show up as an XLS file, and it's called import1. And so I'm going to I have that import file saved on my computer. And so to import it, I'm going to go File, Import, and I'm just going to select the place that I got it from. Now, since I downloaded it on my computer, I can select it from the computer pretty quickly and easily. There's import file right there. Loads right on up, and I can tell it what to do. So if I want to create a whole new spreadsheet document, I can do that. If I just want to create a new sheet on my existing document, I can do that as well. If I want to replace this whole document, that would be the third option. So I don't want to create a whole new spreadsheet. I just want to put this as a new worksheet. And sometimes we just call worksheets sheets. So I just want this to be a new worksheet in my document. So I'm going to click New Sheet, and I'm going to import the data. And when I do that, what you see happen is the information that I was looking at before has now shown up there for me to use. So the next piece that I want to do, notice now I have two of these sheets here. I'm just going to double click on this to rename it, and I'm going to just rename it Sheet 2. The other way I could have done this, other than importing like that, I could have just opened up this document, opened up this guy as well, and then highlighted everything here. I'm going to let this finish working for a second so I can actually get everything, highlight everything, copy, or I could just hit Control C and come over here and hit Edit, Paste, or just Control V on my keyboard, and that would actually add the information in here as well. So again, you kind of have these two different ways of adding the information into your sheet. Neither one of them is fine. I'm going to go ahead and add another sheet here to show you that we can copy and paste from other places as well. So what you'll want to do after you've added these first two sheets is, again, create a new sheet just like I have, and go find a web page that has some information on it kind of laid out in terms of columns and rows. So I am a big football fan, so I watched the parts of the NFL draft over the weekend. And so what I want to do is I'm actually going to highlight the information on here. And you notice when I do that, it's pretty easy to see that I have different columns, 1 column, 2 column, 3 columns, 4 columns, and different rows throughout this. So now that I have everything highlighted, I'm going to right click and choose copy, or I could just hit Control C. And now I'm going to come to my document, to the new sheet I made, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click Edit, Paste. And when I do that, most of the information shows up. Now you see there's some different formatting things going on here that aren't particularly helpful, and that's okay. And you can see that some of the text here doesn't look that great. So I'm going to just highlight everything again. And to help fix this, I'm going to go ahead and change all of my text color to the default color, and I'm going to change the background to the default background. And what we see here is now kind of everything shows up. So this is much easier to look at than it was before. Some of the information here, these would have been pictures. So the pictures didn't come over, but I have the basic information that I want to have here. This wasn't great because of, again, you see the pictures that we have over here on the side. It would be much better if they had names, but for the sake of showing you that we can copy and paste from a website right to our document, you can see that now. All right, and there's one more way that I want to show you guys that we can create new information, and that is simply by typing it in. So I might do something like, I want to know the periods that my different students have classes. And so a neat thing that I might be able to do here is do period 1, and you see this little blue square that's at the bottom right corner of the cell. I can actually click on that and drag it over, and I want to drag it over 7 columns. So now I have period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Notice I didn't have to do anything for that. The computer figured out how to do that for me. And I'm going to do the same thing with my row headings over here to add all 11 of my students. That would be my first period. So just by typing in a couple of headings and then using a drag and drop feature here, we can set up a wonderful little table. Or excuse me, a spreadsheet, not a table. So this is, again, the 3 kind of ways that we can go about building a spreadsheet: typing it in ourselves, doing a copying and pasting from a website, copying and pasting from an existing spreadsheet, or importing from an existing spreadsheet. So now that you have that, that's the end of part one. So make sure that you create your own little 4-sheet spreadsheet that shows these 4 ways. In the tutorial, it gives you 3. So if you don't do a copy and paste from an existing spreadsheet, that's okay. But then we're going to add another sheet at the end. And I am going to make that move to the end here because now we want to go to part 2 of this document. And in part 2 of this document, or the tutorial really, we are formatting our data to make it easy to view. So the first thing I want to do here, I'm going to close out my import file because we don't need that anymore, is I'm going to go back to the folder where I have my different sample spreadsheets that I shared with you guys. And I'm going to open up this spreadsheet that says Spreadsheet Basics Tutorial Part 2. And I'm going to highlight all the information in there right away. One of the things that didn't really translate from this document to this document was the formatting. Some of the things that I wanted it to look like just didn't work out. And that's okay. So what I want to do to fix that is I'm going to highlight all of my columns here. I'm going to right click them. I'm going to go to resize columns. Now the column size that looked about right to me on this was 155. And you can play around with these numbers to see kind of how it looks for you, but I'm going to shift mine to 155. And then I'm going to do the same thing for my very first row here. So I'm going to go resize row, and this one's pretty big too based on the tutorial, so I'm going to shift it to 65 right here. So this is a decent little start, but there's some other things that I want to do with this to kind of make it work here. So first thing first, I'm going to take this group of headings with scrambled eggs, French toast cereal, muffins, and donuts. And I want to take that data and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make this size 12. And I'm going to bold that font. And then I also want to center that font on my page horizontally. And the other thing I want to do is center this vertically as well. So to get to that, I'm going to right click my cells here. And that's missing. Why is that missing? Oh, my vertical alignment is missing here. This is not good. Not good at all. All right, I'm going to highlight that again. Format. Align, and there it is, middle. So I don't know why that wasn't showing up for me on my right click. It should be, but that's where I want to go. So format, align, and middle. I must have done something funny with that to prevent that from working. The other thing I can do here to kind of make this heading stand out is I can change the background color of that. So we go to the fill color. I'm going to choose just a light gray to make that information stand out on the page. All right, the next thing I want to do is I want to change the formatting of some cells here to represent what they truly represent. So most of these things are just how many eggs does this need, bread, so on and so forth. When I get down here, I get to this place where it says average price per serving. So I want to highlight that. And then I'm going to come up to my $ here to format it as currency because these are prices. So I want them to display as prices on my document. So this is now good to go. And that's actually the last piece. So once you've done this, you have done the 2 things that you need to do for the first part of the assignment this week. So save this document. We're going to add to it the second half of the week. I'm going to go ahead and put on here the title of this, Zapier intro tutorial. You can name whatever you want. It doesn't really matter a whole lot, just so you know what it is so you can go find it. And I'm going to close out right now so that you guys can make sure you get this first part done. So once you get these 2 things, importing and creating new documents, as well as doing some basic formatting, you are in a good place and ready to pause for right now, and then we'll pick up again the second half of the week.